just when I think might be getting close to the Republican Party actually hitting rock bottom and turning things around, they find new depths. It's extraordinary to me. They can never seem to find rock bottom, and all of a sudden we're gonna, turn this ship around. Yesterday, case in point. We'll start. There's a bunch of things I'm going to go over. Nikki Haley loses to none of the above in the Nevada primary. None of the above. I didn't even know there was such a thing on a ballot here in the United States. I've talked about it here before on the program. Again, it's 1980s movie, Brewster's Millions, Richard Pryor, John Candy. And Richard Pryor had to spend, I forget the dollar amount, $30 million over the course of the month. But the rule was he couldn't have anything to show for it. He had to have no assets. He had to spend and this is 1980s, $30 million and have no assets. And one of the things he came up with was run a political campaign. And his political campaign was none of the above. But anyway, neither here nor there. Yeah, that none of the above won in Nevada. How Nikki Haley is trying to spin this is borderline ridiculous at this point in time. I know people. I get emails from people and whatnot. And people have been, giving to her campaign because they're very much in the Never Trump camp. I'm also very much in the Never Nikki Haley camp. Quite frankly, I can't deal with the warmonger nonsense. I really can't. But again, this is just embarrassing. Is it not? I mean, it's kind of a joke. You can't even. Yeah, Trump did the caucus. He didn't do the primary. Again, state of Nevada's got some whacked out crap that they've going on there because the Republican Party got ticked off about something. There was a lawsuit. Who knows? Who knows? What I do know is that if you give to the Republican Party, there's something wrong with your head. Anyway, New York Times reporting that, Ronna McDaniel got sent for. He got sent for. In Donnie Brasco, where Lucky's all upset because he got sent for. And he's explaining it, Donnie, you get sent for, you're going to end up with a bullet in the back of your head. Anyway, Ronna got sent for down to Mar-a-Lago, and she's out. She's out after the South Carolina primary, which is February 24th. Trump wants to replace her with this fella from this guy's from Whatley from North Carolina. I think he's an attorney for the Republican Party. He's all in on the Stop the Steal. He was a big Stop the Steal guy. When it comes to the election, he's all about using Republican Party funds to push for election integrity. I don't know what that means, but he's the one that they want to put up there. The other one, Charlie Kirk from Turning Point, is pushing for Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, the one that she was a producer for Inside Edition. I think she worked at Fox for a little bit too. Okay. Whatever. You guys do whatever you want. I'm not a member of the party and I would never send money there. Anyway, you had that going on. You had that going on yesterday. And then late yesterday afternoon, the geniuses we have in the Republican Party, they can't count. Yeah, as turns out, I don't know who the whip is and Mike Johnson. These people, they can't count. They couldn't figure out that they didn't have the votes for the Mayorkas impeachment, which they've been pushing for over a year. I'm sorry. I find it hard. It's going to be real. Like I said, to drag me to the polls in November to vote for this crop of characters. And we told you A year ago when this started up and everyone got all excited. Oh my God, it was like porn for Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boeberts and the MAGA types out there. Impeach Mayorkas. Again, like a bunch of sixth graders. A bunch of children out there. You spent a year on this crap, and I told you what was going to happen. I told you what was going to happen. I told you this was a bad idea. It was stupid, and they couldn't even figure out that they didn't have the votes before bringing it up for a vote. Oh, and I know. You're going to get a lot of people there. All right, Markowski, you're not down for the struggle. Hey, Mayorkas and the border and Mayorkas. What did I say from day one? Mayorkas is an employee. He serves at the pleasure of the President of the United States. He was appointed by Joe Biden. He was approved by Congress. Mayorkas, again, maybe some of you people out there don't understand that he doesn't make policy. That's not how our country works. He doesn't make policy. He can't all of a sudden defy Joe Biden's orders and do whatever the hell he wants when it comes to the border. Why is that so difficult for people to understand? The couple articles of impeachment that they bring up are ridiculous at best. Some of the comments made, you got Tom McClintock, who voted against it. Secretary Mayorkas is guilty of maladministration of our immigration laws on a cosmic scale, but we know that's not grounds for impeachment because the American founders specifically rejected it. Yeah, how about that? We actually look to the Constitution. They didn't want political disputes to become impeachment because that would shatter the separation of powers that vests the enforcement of the laws with the president, no matter how bad a job he does. Right. That's why we have, House elections every 2 years, presidential elections every 4 years, Senate every 6. There's a check right there. Then you had Buck said, in effect, we are now doing what we rightfully said House Democrats were doing in 2019 and 2021, pushing a partisan impeachment not based on what the Constitution actually states. Again, Buck saying exactly what we said here. I want to go to Mike Gallagher from Wisconsin. He had he wrote a piece today, opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal. And again, I'm going to try. I know it's hard. People, many of you take the MAGA blinders off. Okay. Use your head for a second. Just think this through. President Biden has created disaster at our southern border. In his first 100 days in office, Mr. Biden halted border wall construction, ended President Trump's successful Remain in Mexico policy, and implemented a catch and release regime. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is faithfully implementing the president's ruinous policies, which are contributing to immense human suffering, placing a massive financial burden on states and cities, and threatening our national security. His performance has been a disgrace. I agree with all of this. I agree with what Mike Gallagher is saying, and I'm sure everybody else out there does too. But is it impeachable? No, it's not. What does it do? What have I been saying here on the program? What does it do? You get rid of Mayorkas, he's going to appoint somebody else. And now you guys are going to hold that up. You're going to hold hearings to deal with that. We've got an election coming up in a few months. You got a damn election in November. Why are you wasting our time with this? What is the point behind it? Why don't you do your freaking job, man? Impeachment? What are you talking about? Sorry. Again, serenity now, serenity now. I got to calm down. All right. Back to Mike Gallagher. Impeachment not only would fail to resolve Mr. Biden's border crisis, but would also set a dangerous new precedent that would be used against future Republican administrations. Yep. And I'm being honest. Who started the, who lit the match? Who originally lit the match when it came to impeachment? That would be Republicans. Yeah, that way let's go after Bill Clinton. I remember that thing all fell apart. Even Newt Gingrich was getting behind that until they found out that, he was cheating on his wife while she had cancer and all sorts of good stuff. These lovely people we send to Washington, D.C. on a regular basis, is it not? Anyway, what a waste of time that was. The first article of impeachment lays out in grueling detail Mr. Mayorkas' manifest incompetence, but incompetence doesn't rise to the level of high crimes or misdemeanors. Proponents of impeachment concede the framers rejected the idea that policy disputes or maladministration constitute grounds for impeachment. They argue instead that Mr. Mayorkas' under-enforcement goes beyond maladministration, even though it doesn't reach the level of a criminal offense. And this talks about this memo that was put out ordering immigration officials to consider more than illegal aliens' criminal history when determining which one should be detained and removed. And, the Supreme Court reversed some of the rulings on this. And again, it makes no sense. By overturned and dissenting decisions have no legal force. The majority in Texas affirms the long-standing precedent that the president and Homeland Security Secretary have great discretion in enforcing border laws. And this is not new. How many times have I gone back to the Obama administration where he basically told the country, said, I got prosecutorial discretion. They made fun of him on Saturday Night Live. They did skits about it, but he does. And if we are to make under enforcement of the law, even egregious under enforcement, impeachable, about every cabinet secretary would be subject to impeachment. You could talk about the Treasury and State Department's non-enforcement of sanctions against Iran. Defense Secretary is violating the Hyde Amendment, allowing defense travel funds to be used to facilitate abortions. Again, might not like this stuff, but it's not high crimes or misdemeanors. This is why they don't impeach cabinet secretaries unless it's for criminal behavior. Who's at fault for all of the chaos? Is it Mayorkas? No. It's Joe Biden or whoever else is running the country. It's Joe Biden. There is an election coming up in November, and Republicans can't get out of their own way. What did you hope to achieve by impeaching Mayorkas? Would have it changed anything on the ground? So why do it? Are you trying to score political points? Is that what it's all about? Just getting yourself reelected? Or appeasing rabble rousers out there that again, you need blood on, some sort of blood sacrifice here? What does it achieve? The articles of impeachment even tacitly admit there are other options available to Congress. The first article quotes Justice Brett Kavanaugh's majority opinion, which said there are political checks on the executive. Justice Kavanaugh conspicuously doesn't list impeachment. Instead, he outlines other tools Congress has. A list, the impeachment, when quoting the opinion, Kavanaugh's list includes oversight, appropriations, lawmaking. Senate confirmations are the biggest political check of all. Elections are the biggest of them all. We have an election coming up. Those are the options that you use. Again, this, quite frankly, it's embarrassing. This is where the Republican Party is right now. I haven't even taken a look. I get those, they could gamble on everything. What are the election odds at this point in time? You got a president of the United States that's having a difficult time. Yesterday, he couldn't even recall name of Hamas when giving a speech. I actually was watching a YouTube video commercial came up with Barack Obama standing next to Joe Biden. And it was Barack Obama doing most of the talking in this political ad. And Joe didn't look well. And again, this was a produced ad. Produced ad with filters and makeup and all sorts of stuff. He didn't look well at all. And it's this close at this point in time. Police officers being beat up in the streets in New York. Gangs attacking senior citizens, stealing pocketbooks, using the fire. I mean, the stories go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. You can't win on what's just happening here in the United States at this point in time. You need to impeach a cabinet secretary who is nothing more than an order taker. It's kind of pathetic if you actually think about it. It popped in my head, reminded me of Elliot Spitzer. Elliot Spitzer, when going after Wall Street because of all of the crap that they were pulling during the .com boom. He ended up, one guy got in trouble. An order taker. An order taker at Bank of America. Filling orders for hedge funds when he wasn't supposed to fill those orders after hours. The only person. That's what we have right now. Futility at its best. And I'm sorry, at the end of the day, I'm trying to relax, have a good time, and I got to freaking do bloody homework on just how bad it is for the elephants at this point in time. WatchDog on WallStreet.com.